Oh. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam everyone. Today we are going to start the study of the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It gives me great joy to study this along with you all. Just to set the context or the importance of this chapter from Bhagavad Gita, which we are going to take up the study of. I thought I will give you some background, so place it in the appropriate context of why and what of the study as it relates to Sanatana Dharma. So in this first slide, I'm just going to cover some basic information of what we are going to study. Itihasa and Puranas are considered the fifth Veda. In many places, I think people would say Mahabharata is considered the fifth Veda. So there are many texts which give this definition that these should be considered as the fifth Veda. I have taken one quotation, one excerpt from a mantra in the Chandogya Upanishad. Itihasa Puranaha Panchamaha. Itihasa Puranaha Panchamaha. Chandogyopanishad. Okay. Chandogyopanishad. Because I thought it's important because these are some things which Swami refers to in his discourses, so I think we should also know. Chandogya Upanishad is one of the Upanishads which Swami has covered in the Upanishad Vahini. It's considered to be one of the 10 Upanishads which are considered the most profound and important for everyone to study. So in that, in the 7th chapter, the first section, the 4th mantra, it tells other things. So this actually in this 7th chapter, what's happening is Sanat Kumara, the four original sons of Brahma called Sanakadi Muni Rishis. So that Sanat Kumara was approached by Narada for some clarification of doubts, some learning. So, and he is giving some instructions to sage Narada, and in that he is making this statement. He's listing out all the Vidyas which Narada is supposed to have studied. Narada had studied all the Vedas, Upanishads, and so on. And then he still has doubts, so he goes to Sanat Kumara and he clarifies. So there are other things which he's saying, how the worship, upasana has to be pursued by a devotee. So in that context, this is making this statement. Itihasa Puranaha Panchamaha. So he lists the 4 Vedas and then he lists this. That means Itihasas and Puranas. Itihasas and Puranas are considered the 5th Veda. So now we will narrow down to Puranas. Means everyone knows there are 18 Puranas. Swami has spoken about them. We'll look at what is Itihasa. Itihasa as a word is consisting of 3 components: what iti, ha, and asa. Iti means thus. Ha basically is an emphasis. Okay, iti ha. It was like indeed or something like that. Iti ha. Asa. It was. Okay. Thus it was. So itihasa means thus it was. Which basically means this is tradition. So whatever text which lists what is tradition is itihasa. It also can be seen as something which happened. This was so, something like that. This was so. So itihasa is a historical text in the spiritual tradition. So they cover so much. If we read the Mahabharata, it talks about various stories of things which have happened in the past. Okay, so Ramayana and Mahabharata are considered itihasas. These 2 texts are important. So along with the Vedas, itihasa is important, Puranas are important. So Ramayana and Mahabharata are itihasa. So in Sandeha Nivarani, chapter 14, Swami makes this statement. The Ramayana and the Mahabharata are historical epics, itihasas. Swami lists them as things. Then there's another excerpt of Swami's, there are many excerpts on Swami has spoken the importance of Itihasa and Puranas. One of them is a discourse, 25th December, that's Christmas discourse in 2002. Swami says, God has gifted man with the Vedas, Shastras, Puranas and Itihasas to open his eyes to the truth that he is essentially divine. So when Swami makes these statements, it also implies that we take up study of these texts to the extent possible. So which is what we are endeavoring to do now. I also took another excerpt of a slightly detailed excerpt of Swami. Let's go through them. The scriptural texts of India, the Vedas, limbs of the Vedangas, Upanishads, law codes, so Smritis, Puranas, didactic ancient legends, and historical epics, Itihasas, are repositories of profound wisdom. Each is an ocean of sweet, sustaining milk, sacred and sanctifying. The waters of the ocean can never be diminished in volume, however many pumps you ply to drain them. Enormous quantities of water are turned into steam by the hot rays of the sun, bundled into clouds, and returned to the earth as rain. This helps the harvesting of grain and renders the land green with vegetation. The wonder is that in spite of this tremendous uptake and downpour, the levels of ocean does not go down even by an inch. Furthermore, even though thousands of live rivers pour their waters into the seas, the level is not seen to increase. Similarly, those who have supplemented their knowledge of the scriptural texts with the awareness of their validity acquired by practicing the lessons contained in them are not affected by praise or blame, whatever the source and quantity. Their hearts will stay pure, unaffected, and calm. The holy scriptures of India are strongholds of such sustaining lessons. However, one can imbibe those lessons only to the extent of one's patience and intelligent skill. After mastering the text and gaining experience in putting the lessons into actual practice, one can share the light and the joy with others. Texts of India insist on the value of actual practice and the need to confirm the truths by experiencing their impact. I felt it's important that whenever we undertake any of this study, that we understand how we should study, and Swami has nicely explained that we should study them and we should put them into practice, and only then, Swami, the proof Swami says is they will be unaffected by the dualities of experiences in life. So there are many other excerpts which I could have said, but I thought I will limit my discussion to this. If there's interest, you can always go and read some of these places. So this from Sathya Sai Vahini, Swami has covered it. Though there are many other discourses also, where Swami has laid emphasis on the study of this. So just from information, it's details. It's always good to know, many of us consider ourselves Hindus. If you're born as Hindus, if somebody asks what religion do you belong, we may say we are Hindus. But as Hindus and as devotees in the Sathya Sai organization, Swami says, I have come to make a Hindu a better Hindu. So first we have to learn the religion which we profess as ours before we even endeavor to study other religions or what is contained in the other religions. So I think in that context, we need to know as Hindus, we should be able to speak about the texts which are important for anyone who either wants to know about Hinduism or those who call themselves Hindus. The obligation of those who call themselves Hindus is much higher. So in that context, I think it's good to know some details of the religious texts. So I'll just go over some of them. Mahabharata is a text written by sage Veda Vyasa. It is also said that Veda Vyasa employed Lord Ganesha to write the Mahabharata. He said, because it's a very large volume of writing. And so he wanted the best of writers to take a stenographer of sorts. So he prayed to Lord Ganesha, and Ganesha took up the job. So we should understand that what we are going to study is something which Veda Vyasa composed and written down by Lord Ganesha himself. That's the importance of what we are going to study. So this Mahabharata, I don't know whether you all know the story that Veda Vyasa has said, I'll be saying that you should not post writing because if you don't keep up with me, then we have to stop the work. Number one. Number two, apparently Veda Vyasa had also told Lord Ganesha that you should understand the meaning and then only write. Okay, so only Lord Ganesha was capable of doing that. But even then, when the pen broke, apparently he broke his tusk to continue the writing. So that is the level of sacrifice even Lord Ganesha has made to write this. So I think we should give appropriate importance to the text. So this Mahabharata consists of what I call 18 parvas. Parvas, they are different sections. Okay. Each of the texts have been given different names in terms of their divisions. Okay. How the text is divided. So Mahabharata contains 18 parvas, or 18 chapters, you can call them. In English, in the word Kanda is used in some places. In Ramayana, for example. Ayodhya Kanda and so on. Kanda. Whereas Mahabharata, it's called Parvas. So 18 Parvas are the chapters in Mahabharata. And of these 18 chapters, there's a Parva called Bhishma Parva, which is the 6th Parva. Okay, 6th chapter of the Mahabharata, you can say. And actually, that is the chapter in which Bhishma in the Mahabharata Yuddha, the war, he was the commander-in-chief. So it was the first portion of the Mahabharata war itself. So that is covered in this Bhishma Parva, the beginning of the war and the early part of the war itself, when Bhishma was the commander-in-chief. So in this chapter of Bhishma Parva, there are many chapters within that, about 100 odd chapters. 23rd chapter to the 40th chapter, 18 chapters. The 23rd chapter to the 40th chapter of Bhishma Parva in the Mahabharata consists of the Bhagavad Gita. There are 700 shlokas in the 18 chapters. So that is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Because the Bhagavad Gita has given us many things for the devotees to learn and practice in depth. The three jewels, considered to be Bhagavad Gita, the Vishnu Sahasranama, and also the Sanat Sujati. And there are many other discourses which are also equally important. I think when we are studying Rudram, I had mentioned that Sri Krishna himself discourses on the importance of Rudram, Sri Rudram, the importance of studying it. So I think we have covered that there. So as you know, Mahabharata consists of so many treasures for any devotee. So the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is considered the essence of Upanishads, which is actually milked by, there's a shloka which Swami himself recites, that Krishna became the cowherd who milked these Vedas into milk, and the baby calf Arjuna drank it, and all of us also are drinking today. That's what the word says. So where Sri Krishna actually explains various paths and practices to realize the purpose of one's life, which is to attain divinity, as Swami has earlier mentioned already. So among many of these paths, Swami lays, sorry, there's some spelling mistake. Swami has talked quite highly about the need for devotion as an important and essential ingredient of our spiritual journey. And Swami, he has given many discourses on touching on the topics related to Bhakti Yoga over the years. So we will cover some of them as we study this chapter. So the 12th chapter among these 18 chapters, so which basically means the 34th chapter of the Bhishma Parva, is the Bhakti Yoga. So it is the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 34th chapter of the Bhishma Parva, and it is called the Bhakti Yoga treatise, okay, which is what we are going to study. Among the 700 shlokas, there are many 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. This is one of the shortest chapter. There are 2 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita which have 20 shlokas each. One of them is the 12th chapter. Okay, the other one is the Purushottama Yoga. But this chapter is given a lot of importance by Swami. Swami makes sure that every student who passes out of his institution learns by heart this chapter. And during Krishnashtami, he will say, okay, chant the 12th chapter. And we will all chant. Every Krishnashtami, the students will chant. Over the decades, it has happened. Because Swami wants that to be completely immersed in us. And we need to, just chanting itself can benefit us and give us some ability to cultivate devotion. So we will launch into the Adhyaya, 12th, Dvadasha Adhyaya, which is Bhakti Yoga. I don't know, there was some Sanskrit words I did not read, maybe I've read for the purpose of people who are interested. This Mahabharata Bhishma Parva Srimad Bhagavad Gita, again Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga, Dvadashodhyaya. Dvadasha means 12. Dva 2, Dasha is 10, so that means 12. That Dvadasha means 12. Adhyaya, chapter. Okay, so this was some Sanskrit words. Because it's good to learn reading the Sanskrit and the words. So now we will go into the first verse of this chapter. So of these 20 shlokas, the first shloka is a question by Arjuna. The rest of the 19 is discourse by Sri Krishna on answer to this question, which Arjuna is posing in the first shloka or verse. So let's read. Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga. I don't know whether you all are aware, maybe all of you know, but it doesn't hurt to talk about it. Every chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is called Yoga. So there are 18 yogas which Krishna has spoken about. Yoga is nothing but merging or joining with the Lord. In English, you can say it's a yoking of the mind. Yoking means you take a cow and tie it to something. That process is called yoking. So the mind should be yoked to something. Otherwise, the mind will always run around. So Krishna is giving, telling us how we should yoke our mind. The entire Bhagavad Gita starts with Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna was sad and he was crippled by doubt and despair in the first chapter. But even when he had that became a yoga because he used that to connect to the Lord. He cried out only to the Lord. He did not talk to anyone. In the battlefield, he made sure that he had Krishna by his side. And when he was in deep trouble, he only spoke to the Lord and conveyed to him his despair. So that process itself takes one to closer to the Lord and can become a person of worship. Then, of course, it ends with Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, which is the 18th chapter. So every chapter is termed yoga. So it's a way, Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we can connect to the Lord in various ways. So Bhakti Yoga is connecting through Bhakti, yoking the mind with Bhakti. So we'll read the first verse. Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yukta Ye Bhaktas-tvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham ke yoga vittama. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhakta stvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittama. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhakta stvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittama. Just as usual, we will look at anything which we have to pay attention to while pronouncing. Arjuna Vacha is simple, evam satata yukta ye, all simple consonants. Bha, this bhakta, this bha is the fourth letter in the pa varga. So it has to be aspirated with or said with some emphasis. So bha, okay, bhakta stvam paryupasate. Ye chapyaksharam. This aksha, the sha here is cerebral sha, so the tip of the tongue has to point upwards to the roof of the mouth. Aksharam, aksharam avyaktam. Tesham, again the same sha, which is the tongue pointing, tip of the tongue pointing towards the roof of the mouth. Tesham ke yoga vittama. Let's now split the words. I think there are many who have joined who are not used to it. So we look at the split of the words. It's called Chandi Vicheta, which is splitting of sandhis, because words are generally put together in compositions in Sanskrit verse. So we split them so that we understand the meaning. Evam is, there's no change. Satata yuktaha is the word. Satata yuktaha. The visarga actually gets dropped because of sandhi. That's the only difference. Ye, no change. Bhaktaha tvam. So this bhaktaha tvam, these two words become bhaktas tvam because the sandhi, because of sandhi, the visarga becomes is. So that's how it becomes bhaktas tvam, though originally it is bhaktaha tvam. The next word is paryupasate. No change. Ye, no change. Cha api aksharam avyaktam. So there are four words combined here into one word. Okay. Cha api becomes chapi. Api plus aksharam becomes apyaksharam. E plus a becomes ya. Apyaksharam. Api plus aksharam is apyaksharam. I think somebody is asking for the meaning. Please wait until we go into the meanings. Okay. Cha api aksharam. So chapi aksharam becomes chapyaksharam. Plus a becomes ma. So that's how you get cha chapyaksharam avyaktam. Okay. Cha api aksharam avyaktam. Tesham ke yoga vittama. No change in terms of sandhi. Though there are internal sandhis in some of the words, but we will cover them when we look at the meanings. So we will look at meaning. Arjuna uvacha. There are many places we will hear in Arjuna uvacha, Bhagavan uvacha, Sanjaya uvacha. It starts with Dhritarashtra uvacha. So it's because it's a story which is being stated between verses. Sometimes there's a description of what is happening. So in this case, Arjuna uvacha. Arjuna said. Uvacha means speak. He spoke. Okay, Arjuna spoke also, you can say. Uvacha means to speak. So Arjuna spoke, or Arjuna said. Arjuna Vacha. So what did he say? Evam means thus. Evam means thus. So you should understand it's a continuous text. The Bhagavad Gita is continuing chapter after chapter. Okay. So in chapter 11, so we are looking at chapter 12. In chapter 11, Krishna gives him the darshan of the Vishwarupa. So Arjuna gets to see the Vishwarupa darshana of Sri Krishna. Because he asked him, "Oh Lord, reveal yourself to me." And so Krishna gave him that ability to see his Vishwarupa. That is, he saw Krishna as the entire universe. And of course, at the end, he said, "Oh Lord, I am unable to bear this. Please come back to your normal self." And then Krishna comes back to his normal self, and he tells him, "Look here, you have seen something which great rishis and devas are wishing to have. I've given you a glimpse of that. But to really earn that, you have to go through a certain process." So he gives the last 4 verses in that chapter, tells him what one should do. And the last verse, I don't have it here, but just to set the context, I will just read it. So you understand that when this evam, what is this evam? Okay. First, I thought I will put that verse, so then it may become a bit more elaborate. But just to set the context, I will just read out that verse and give you some meaning. He says, Mat karmakrit, mat paramo, mat bhaktah, sankavarjitah, nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu yasa mameti pandava. So Krishna is saying, one who performs all his duties for my sake, depends on me. Say, mat karmakrit means do all actions for my sake. Mat karmakrit. Mat paramo, who is completely depends on me without any other refuge. Mat bhakta, my devotee. Sangha varjitaha, gives up all attachments or all connections to the world. Nirvairaha, one who is without any enmity. Sarva bhuteshu, in all living beings. Yes, sir, mam etima. So he's telling that person reaches me. So this is how Lord Krishna ends the 11th chapter. He's telling Arjuna, look here, to see this Vishwarupa Darshana, you have to do all this. Do all the actions for my sake. Completely depend on me, mat paramo. Mat bhakta, be devoted to me. Do not have enmity in anything or everyone, in all living beings. Then you will come to me. So once he makes this statement, Arjuna gets a doubt. So he's asking this question. Okay, that's the context for this verse itself. Okay, evam. So Krishna is saying, thus, what you have said, satata yuktaha. So satata yukta, it's a compound word also. Satata means at all times, steadfastly. Okay, yuktaha, I already mentioned about yuktaha. Yukta means one who is a yogi, one who is completely connected to the Lord, one whose mind is completely attached to the Lord. Okay, satata yukta means steadfastly immersed. So you can be steadfastly connected to the Lord. Okay, because in the previous verse, Krishna has said, be devoted to me, do all things for my sake, and so on. So he's telling, evam satata yuktaha, steadfastly immersed, ye, whoever, or those who, Ye means those who, whoever. Bhaktaha, devotees. Tvam. Tvam is second vibhakti or the second noun form of the word tvam. Tvam means you. Tvam means tvam as you as an object. Okay. So devoted to you, you can say. In English, it's very difficult to translate. But thus, who are devoted to you, all the devotees, whoever devotee, who is steadfastly immersed, okay, to you. Okay, immersed. Paryupasate. Paryupasate is actually, asate is the verb. Pari and upa are two prefixes. And they are called upasargas in Sanskrit. They have certain meanings. Paryupasate. I don't know, many of you may have read Shirdi Charita, many people read. So, Shirdi Sai Baba is giving an explanation of what is Pariprashna. Pariprashna, I don't, for those who may not realize what I am referring to, it's a story there was one devotee who is a great Sanskrit scholar, but he was a devotee of Shirdi Sai Baba, and he was one day doing Pada Seva. He was massaging his feet, and while doing, he was chanting something. He was chanting Bhagavad Gita shloka, Pariprashnena Seveya, like that, it goes on. So Shirdi Sai Baba asks him to explain the meaning. So he asked him, what are you doing? He said, I am chanting a Bhagavad Gita shloka. So he said, what is that verse? So he says this. While saying this, he's thinking, the devotee is saying, oh, what will Shirdi Sai Baba know? He doesn't know Sanskrit. He doesn't know the Gita. Even though he was devoted, he wasn't too sure whether Shirdi Sai Baba knew. Then he asks him for the meaning of Pariprashnena. He says, through questioning, asking questions. Then he asks him, oh, Pariprashnena means questioning. Then he asked him, what is Prashnena? He says that's also questioning. Then he asks, then what is Pariprashnena? What is the difference between Pariprashnena and Prashnena? Then this person, this Sanskrit scholar who thought Shirdi Sai Baba doesn't know Sanskrit or Padavida, he was stumped because he himself didn't know the meaning. The difference between Prashnena versus Pariprashnena. Then he tells him, you can ask all sorts of questions. Pariprashnena, Shirdi Sai Baba explains to this Sanskrit scholar. Pariprashnena means one who asks questions appropriately to understand the subject, with no other thought, with sincere, these are sincere questions, okay, which are properly asked by a sincere devotee. So in the same way here also, pari upa asate, pari has a certain meaning. So pari means in an appropriate way, in a sincere way. Upa is to be closer. Okay. Pari upa means very, very close also, you can say. Some people give that meaning. Asate means to remain. One who remains very, very close to the Lord. So upasana comes from the word upa-asa, to be very close. So that's why Swami says upavasa means people think not going without food. He says that is not the meaning. You should be staying very close to the Lord. You live close to the Lord, that's upavasa. So in this upasate is also same. Upasana marga. So pari upasate means who worships with overflowing devotion by going near the Lord, by remaining close to the Lord. So Arjuna is saying, those who are steadfastly immersed and worshipping you, being very, very close with overflowing devotion and sincerely. Okay, so there are that kind of devotees. Then he says, ye Then those who cha and api also aksharam. Kshara means which can diminish, which can deplete. Okay, akshara or perish. Kshara means perishing also. Akshara means that which does not perish. Okay, aksharam. So aksharam is imperishable. Avyaktam. Vyakta means to manifest. Avyakta means unmanifest. So, because whatever is manifested will perish. If a form comes, the form will vanish. Because the form is temporary. Swami himself says, I have come now, this form which you see will not last. It will undergo change and it will go away. You will not be able to see. But that which is within that is unmanifest, that is Akshara. Atman is unmanifest. Aksharam is imperishable and unmanifest. Aksharam avyaktam. Imperishable, unmanifest. Tesham. Okay. So he's telling, so in this context you should understand, those who worship you steadfastly, immersed in you, and those who worship paripasate, aksharam avyaktam. So then there are two kinds of people. Those who worship you, but those who worship in the same way that which is imperishable and unmanifest. Okay. Tesham, among them, K, who is implied, yoga vittama. Okay. Yoga vittama means actually yoga with means a knower of yoga, who knows how to connect. With means who is expert in connecting. So both, there are two categories of people who are connecting to the Lord. One who are connecting to Krishna, then those who are connecting to this unmanifest, imperishable form of the Lord. That means nirakara, nirguna, without form, without attributes. Among them, tesham, who, okay, yoga with tama. The word tama at the end means the highest, superlative. In Sanskrit, the suffix tama is applied to show something which is superlative. So Arjuna is asking, oh Lord, there are two kinds of devotees I know. One who you are saying should be devoted to you. Then there are people who worship the unmanifest, imperishable form of the Lord, formless form of the Lord. Who is better among them? Who is the best? This is a question by Arjuna. See, I think as people who follow Swami, sometimes we will wonder, is there any better guru? Is there a better form worship? These are doubts. So Arjuna himself had this question. Even though Krishna has said, do my work, be devoted to me, that's what he ended. Arjuna is asking, so this question maybe Arjuna had, but this was written so that we who may be prone to thinking, is there anything better? Is this the best, or is there something else which is best? Because we always want the best. So Arjuna asked this question. Should we worship you with form, with beautiful Lord, with whom I have this sneha bhava, I have this friendship, I have a relationship, personal God versus impersonal God. Even today in the spiritual philosophy, lots of people ask questions. And so this is a question Arjuna poses. So this concept has been always existing. And Krishna has covered it in the Bhagavad Gita. We will read some excerpt of Swami, just to put, because we are studying the Gita Vahini. So in chapter 20, so Swami has described it, so I have excerpted it. Arjuna asked with a smile and a little tremor of the lips, Lord, I realize that you are pleased with the undeviating, single-pointed devotion. But are you pleased with the worship of you with form or you without form? Do you prefer Sakara Upasana or Nirakara Upasana? Which melts you more, contributes to success in getting your blessings? Which is easier for the sadhaka and more welcomed by you? Please tell me. So Swami has nicely explained this question of Arjuna to us in a way we will understand. So Arjuna is asking with a tremor of the lip because the doubt is pestering him, but he has to ask. Who else will he ask? So he asks. Single-pointed devotion, that's the way he's undeviating single-pointed devotion. Paryupasate. You can take that, okay. So we will go to the next verse. So Krishna is starting to give an answer to Arjuna. So we'll read the Sanskrit now. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Mayyaveshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetaste me yuktatama mata. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Mayyaveshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetaste me yukta tama mata. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Mayyaveshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetaste me yukta tama mata. In terms of pronunciation, you can look at some letters. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. This Bha has to be emphasized with extra breath. Okay. As aspirated. Okay. In Sanskrit, it's called Mahaprana. So we have to look more energy, more air. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Mayyaveshya. All of them are small, not aspirated consonants. So simpler to say. Mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate. All simple. Shraddhaya. Shra, Udh. So it's a compound consonant. So there's Udh and Udh. There are two of them there. The second Dha is aspirated. So Shraddhaya. Okay. So pay attention to that. Parayopetaste me yukta tama mata. All simple consonants. So let us look at the Sandhi split of the same words. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. As you can see here, it is a compound. It's a with joint word. When you split it, it's Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The in plus u becomes nu here. Okay. That's a Sandhi. The next word is Mayyaveshya. It's comprised of two words, which is Mayi Aveshya. Mayi Aveshya becomes Mayyaveshya because of Sandhi. Manaha is a simple word, but Manaha becomes Mano because of Sandhi. The Visarga Manaha becomes O. The Visarga Ha becomes O because of Sandhi. Mano Yema. Nitya Yukta Ha. The Visarga gets dropped because of Sandhi. Nitya Yukta Ha Upasate. Next one is Shraddhaya, no change. Paraya upetaha, and te becomes parayopetaste. So there are three words in this parayopetaste. The first one is paraya. Second, paraya upeta becomes parayopeta. Ya plus u becomes yo. Okay, parayopeta. The visargaha becomes is because of sandhi. So upeta ste. So parayopeta ste. When it's split, it is paraya upetaha te. Me yuktatamaha. May no change. Yuktatamaha, the visarga gets dropped because of sandhi. Yuktatamaha mataha. Okay, so these are the changes due to sandhi. We will look at the meaning of the verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So as you said, Uvacha means said. Shri Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord said. So Krishna is answering to the question of Arjuna. So that's a description between the verses. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So let's see what the Lord is saying. Mayi is the first one. In terms of Sanskrit, it is the seventh noun form of the word aham. Aham means I. Mayi is the seventh noun form, which means in me, on me, about me. There are many meanings which you can derive, however you use it. So I would say in me is my preference, but I have said on me also. Some people will say upon me. Okay. Mayi, in me, aveshya. Aveshya means to enter. Okay. To enter into in me. Aveshya is mean having entered. Aveshya means having done something. I don't know whether we have covered. I don't want to go into too much grammar, but there's something called lyap, uktva or lyap. These are two suffixes which get added, which means one action which precedes another action. An action which precedes another. When you have two actions, one after the other, the first action will usually have uktva or lyap, which is she or ya, like that it comes. Okay. In this case, aveshya means having done that. So there are two things which a person is doing. The first one is aveshya. So having entered in me. Okay, having entered on me, whichever you want to put it. Manaha, which is mind. I think I should have this. Okay, sorry. Okay, having the mind having entered in me, entered me. Okay, mayi aveshya manaha. Okay, that actually, if you look at the whole thing, a person whose mind has entered into the Lord, entered the Lord. Mayi aveshya manaha. One whose mind has entered me, having entered me. Ye, who, mam. Mam means it is the second noun form of, yes. Aham is the first noun form, means I. The object is mam. Okay. Me. That's the second noun form. So those mam upasate means worshipping me. Okay. So me is the English equivalent. Okay. Who, me, nitya yuktaha. Nitya means always. Nitya is always. Yuktaha, as we have mentioned, who is joined, who is yoked their minds. Okay. Connected their minds. Upasate, worships. Upasate is a singular verb. He worships. Okay, in this case, ye upasate, whoever worships me. How? Nitya Yukta. Originally we used the word Satata Yukta. Here Nitya Yukta is used, which is more or less the same. Satata and Nitya are similar in meaning. Ever immersed. Okay. Having their mind entered in me. Shraddhaya. Shraddhaya is the third vibhakti or third noun form of the word Shraddha. Shraddhaya is the third noun form of the simple noun Shraddha, which is Shraddha. Shraddha gets many meanings given by people. Some people say it's devotion. Some people say it's faith. Okay, but it means much more. There's no equivalent in English, so I have used the word determined, unswerving, focus, and faith. Determined, unswerving, focus, and faith is Shraddha. So with that, so the third vibhakti or third noun form means with, through, by, that kind of a meaning it gives. So with that Shraddha, whoever worships, okay, upasate. Then he gives another word, paraya, which is also an adjective of the Shraddhaya. Paraya means transcendental. It is not worldly. It's not even a worldly Shraddha. It is paraya, that which is beyond. Iha para. Iha means this word, para means that word. Okay, paraya. So of a highest type of Shraddha. Upetaha. Upetaha means two meanings can be given. Upa, as I said, is closer. Upeta means one who coming near, or endowed with also you can say. So people who are endowed with Shraddha of Paraya. Okay, something which is transcendental, very high type of Shraddha, and worship the Lord. Okay. So people who should have Shraddha of transcendental nature, Paraya, and they should be eternally, Nitya Yukta, always connected to the Lord, and Upasate, worship, having entered the Lord. Their mind having entered the Lord. That means the mind is not going anywhere else. It has gone inside the Lord. Mayi aveshya manaha. Okay. They, may, my is the second, sixth vibhakti. That's the way I've used it. Yukta tamaha. Yukta means joining. Tamaha, which we have already looked at. The best superlative. Okay. Mataha are regarded. Okay, so I'll just put people who are regarded. It's very difficult to translate mata in English sentence, but okay, I will put it as regard. So what Krishna is telling, Arjuna is asking, who is better, this kind or that kind? Actually, Krishna is not answering that question directly. He is telling whoever, okay, who constantly ever immersed, worships me with Shraddha and of a certain higher kind, Paraya, Upetaha, fully endowed with that, who come close to me. Okay. And having their minds entered in me, they are considered the best yogis in my view. So in short, that's what Krishna is telling. So I took an excerpt from Swami's Gita Vahini. I will read it out because that Swami nicely explains it. Okay, sorry. Krishna was happy that this question was asked. He said, Arjuna, I do not make any distinction between the two. I am pleased, however I am worshipped, provided the mind is saturated with me and there is steady faith in every act, word, and thought. Arjuna intercepted with a query. Krishna, are mere purity of heart and steady faith enough? Do not sex, status as fixed by caste or the stage of life form obstacles to success? Krishna chided Arjuna and replied, I am surprised that you should ask such questions after going through all this experience. Do you not realize that for those who have fixed their minds on God, okay, Aveshya Manaha, Aveshya Manaha, who have fixed their mind on God, who have reposed in me, the personification of truth, eternal and pure, there will not be an iota of identification of the self with the body. They have Bhranti. If they have still the awareness of sex or caste, stage of life with all the attendant pride, humility, etc., it only reveals that they have not surrendered their minds to God. For those who have rid themselves of attachment to the body, there will not be the distraction of caste, status, etc. This again from chapter 20. There was an extension of, because I felt that Swami is explaining what is stated in the verse. I have accepted here. So he's saying our mind should be only thinking of the Lord, having completely fixed on the Lord, with faith, unswerving faith. Such people are the most perfect yogis. He's not saying whether you worship with form or without form. He's not answering that question in this first shloka. There are other shlokas where he's elaborating what he has stated in this shloka, which we can look at the next classes. So this is what I had prepared for today. So I will stop here. If anyone has any questions on any of them, let me know. We can discuss. Sai Ram Kalyani.
Sairam uncle. So, paraya, is that like an adjective of Shraddha? That Shraddha.
Yes.
So it's also third vibhakti?
It's also third vibhakti. So paraya Shraddhaya. Para Shraddha means of a highest kind. So both of them are in third vibhakti, the third noun form, and both of them mean the same thing, through that. So in Sanskrit, the adjective takes on the same noun ending as the word which it describes. So yes, both of them are third vibhakti, third noun form.
And then it's is it me mata regarded by me, like by Krishna?
Yeah, me mata is my me. See, because mataha is plural. Yukta tamaha mataha. So it is the structure of the sentence is such that such people are regarded like that. All of them are regarded by me like that. So there's no easy way to translate it into an English sentence. But basically, you can say, I consider them all as my are the best.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's saying
mataha is sorry, mataha because it's plural again. Just the way yukta tamaha is plural. Okay, so that's from that. Yes. Yes.
And it says Mai Aveshya. So after having entered me, then their mind is ever immersed? Like
yes. So first we have to enter the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. The mind should enter the Lord. So that means the mind should not be running around here, there. That's why I put this where Swami is saying, once the mind enters, it's not going to think of who I am, what is this body, my caste, creed. Nothing it will think. Nothing related to the world will be thought by the mind. So that's why the mind has to enter in me. So that means completely unswervedly, mind is gone inside the Lord. That's the way I understand. Okay.
Thank you, Uncle.
Yeah. Auntie, Kanayes Auntie, you have a question.
Sai Ram, I don't know. This has nothing to do with your explanation. I just want to clarify. Like you said that everybody recites everything in Sanskrit and all that. So any course that you do at Swami's universities, whether it's a BSc or BA or whatever it is, everybody has to learn Sanskrit?
Swami says, I never force scientists, so no one is forced to learn Sanskrit. But Swami makes everyone learn these shlokas.
Okay.
Yes, Swami has emphasized Sanskrit so much. There are enough discourses. In the first World Conference in 1968, Swami, in the first discourse, Swami says, every Sathya Sai center should make it possible for adults and children to learn Sanskrit. It's a primary duty of Sathya Sai Center. This is the first World Conference.
Okay.
In Mumbai, Mumbai as it's called today, in 1968, I think May 17th is the discourse.
Yeah.
So Swami has laid a lot of emphasis of the importance of Sanskrit. I think when we started the Sanskrit course, I think I had about 15, 16 quotes, excerpts from Swami, where Swami has said why it is important for anyone to learn Sanskrit. Because the reality is why Sanskrit is, see, in other languages, this concept itself doesn't exist. Some of the concepts which are in Sanatana Dharma do not exist in other languages. So when they do not have the concept, it is not possible for them to explain.
Yes.
Those languages are incapable of explaining the concept. That is why understanding, at least a basic understanding, even though one does not become a scholar or a grammarian or anything, some basic understanding of certain vocabulary, Sanskrit vocabulary, is needed and it's important. Because there are many places where Swami, when somebody translates, Swami has told them, don't translate it into English. For example, he say, actually there are discourses where Swami says, Dharma means, some people say righteousness, righteous activity. He says it's all wrong. They don't, that is not Dharma. Like the word concept Maya. Swami will say, just say Maya. Don't call it illusion. Illusion is wrong. So this actually in some discourses Swami has said. So I think to have basic Sanskrit vocabulary is important so that we understand the real meaning of a word. The longer we use other language to translate, it does not have the concept itself in those languages, and that is why. So that's why in English they sometimes take Sanskrit words and start using it because it means much more than, or you have to have multiple words in English to describe something. The way I sort of translated Shraddha.
Of course, when you translate, the meaning suffers, Yeah, and it happens. And thank you, Aruna. It's a beautiful chapter, and we are walking into that in a nice way because you told the context, everything. And I think it's going to be a very interesting one. Yeah. And thank you very much. Okay. And ultimately, it is the Saranagati, total Saranagati is what is needed.
Yes. Swami takes us along slowly, just the way Krishna did for Arjuna. Yes, Brother Kumar.
But the thing is, Krishna, without, at the start itself, he showed him his Viswarupa. How is that?
Because, see, the Lord always gives a small taste. Just the way we go to, places like Costco, they will give a sample. But sample is just so that we taste, so our interest is pricked. But
arouse the interest in the person.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Arun.
Sai Ram. Sairam. Auntie Sakko, you have a question.
Yes, Sairam. Here it says that we have to have Krishna consciousness and do everything at all times. It doesn't say anything about Saguna or Nirguna. Am I right?
So, Auntie, Swami has explained the word Avyakta Akshara with Nirakara. Form, so it is implied. That's why I put the Swami's words to explain the meaning of this. So when Arjuna is asking this question,
Unmanifest.
yes, unmanifest, Avyakta. Unmanifest means it doesn't have form or name or characteristics.
Yeah.
So that's an explanation of the word Avyakta. If something is unmanifest, it does not have form, it does not have attributes.
Okay.
Okay. So it is an explanation of the word Avyakta. That which is not manifest. I hope it answers the question.
Yes, answers. Thank you.
Yes, Saira.
Sairam.
So it's 10:26. If there are no other questions, I think we can close the session with Samastaloka. Sairam, everyone. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.